been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I ought to slow down, standing in the pouring rain.
What's going on, guys? Tony alone here on the podcast tonight. Tristan's a little under the weather, but I'm kind of running the show tonight. So we've got a special guest on here tonight, and I will say unique. And I'm so excited about all you guys to learn a little bit more about this gentleman. Tonight, I've got Kevin, a.k.a. Smitty Smith, on the phone with us tonight, owner of Smitty's Beard Sauce, an American hunter extravaganza guy. I mean, this guy dives into everything. Kevin, thanks for coming on the show tonight.
I appreciate you having me, Tony.
Man, I mean, we're going to dive into this stuff, but dude, you are a busy individual.
I try to stay busy. Idle hands. It's I got to stay busy.
But man, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be on here tonight. And for people that aren't familiar with or aren't following you, just kind of introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what you do, and both professionally and personally, and tell us a little bit about Smitty's Beard Sauce as well.
Yeah, so Smitty's Beard Sauce is actually barbecue sauce. Let me start out by saying that. There's a lot of beard care out there, and people hear the word beard and automatically associate that. But barbecue sauce, yeah. So I started in the outdoors super young, and with that, it kind of threw me into kind of currently where I am now. But originally from Southeast Missouri, did some time in the military, had a few bumps on the head, and they said, nope, we can't have you. So I separated from there, came to Tennessee, and called it home.
Gotcha.
During some therapy and some recovery, they told me I needed to use my hands and, hand and eye coordination, my brain. They just needed me to fire on all fours again. So
sure. They
said, what better way to do that would be to join any type of club or group, to talk, to get some feelings or associated with other people, just to get out there.
Sure.
So I kind of went back to my roots, and I went out to a veteran hunt, and the camaraderie kind of, set me afire. And so during the club meetings, they said, hey, we're going to have some barbecue. Whoever creates the best homemade sauce is going to, win the club's lot. And at the time it was beer.
Hey man, that's perfect.
And so, yeah, exactly. And so I created Smitty's Original, which is a sweet and spicy. And during that time, I found myself connecting with a lot of other veterans in the outdoor community. And so I started, diving more into things I could associate with and grasp a hold of and connect with on a deeper level that my brain could fully allow me to facilitate mentally and physically.
Sure.
And so that's where, all the outdoors came. That's fishing, that's hunting, that's traveling. And so along the way, Smitty's grew and grew and grew. People started taking me serious. And I created 3 more flavors. I created ghost pepper blend, a Scotch bonnet flavor, and a beard scorcher blend, which is the hottest of the 4. So, it's helped me mentally, it's helped me physically and spiritually.
Sure.
So both of these things kind of go hand in hand, if you will. Just meeting people along the way, networking, recovery, and going back to where it started, so that's kind of where I'm at now. I travel when the opportunity arises. I try to, fish everywhere I go. I carry a fishing pole in my truck, whether it's business or personal. Now I'm so I've dove so far into the outdoors things again that makes me who I am and where I started, that I'm doing taxidermy now. And I kind of started a little bit of that here not too long ago. And again, it's something else that goes with everything I'm doing currently. And it keeps me alive, and it keeps me looking forward to things every day.
That's so cool, man. And man, thank you so much for your service. Really appreciate that.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we don't thank our veterans enough. And I've been. If you follow us, you guys know I'm a Navy veteran. What branch were you in, Smitty?
Army. Sorry.
Army. Okay, yeah. So Army guys say that Navy guys weren't in the military. So, but
I tell you what, and this goes for everybody, and you've probably heard it many a times. Everybody's got a job, and as a big picture, nothing can move or be done without another branch.
That's right. Exactly right. Well, I will dive into this, and it's something that we didn't previously talk about, but I was fortunate enough to be part of, I believe it was the first Army Navy joint venture. Whenever we had the Haiti crisis, I was on the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, and we brought on the 10th Mountain Division. And,
Nice.
We basically went down there and just told them, you're going to stop what you're doing or it's not going to be good, so that was a really cool experience. Just being part of an Army Navy, dual effort, to have the carrier fully lined with Blackhawks and other Army helicopters and equipment and stuff was quite the difference than having it loaded out with a bunch of aircraft, So.
Oh, yeah. Different mission for sure.
Yeah. No, but thank you for your service, man. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you, brother.
And, and if you don't mind, as we kind of dig into this a little tonight, I would like to talk a little bit about, in a little bit more depth about, how the hunting helped you specifically as a veteran to get over some things and kind of dive into that without getting into your personal life and just to help other people out.
Yeah, too easy. The at the time, when we first we go from 100 mile an hour to full stop,
Mm-hmm.
and those feelings and all those sensories and everything about us kind of we don't have a purpose anymore. And then we don't feel as wanted or needed. We don't have we got to find something to stay busy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's my opinion. So I took the first step after being physically and mentally capable to come outside my shell and getting on a plane and meeting all these new people that I've never met. I don't want people to look at me funny. I don't want them to judge me. It's
Right.
like, you feel like you gotta, I don't know. It's like, oh, maybe they don't believe me. So now I got to tell my story 37 more times.
Sure.
But the thing is, when you're around the same type of people in a setting to where you are comfortable with, which is the outdoors, which is hunting,
Mm-hmm.
that brought us together. It's food, who doesn't like food?
Right.
So, you can kind of be yourself again. And then, the camaraderie, it kind of just falls into place because you can either help someone to your right, or you can look and help someone to your left, so there's that
Mm-hmm.
again,
Yep. For sure.
Yeah. So, just being out there and, like I said, being able to mentally and physically find that one thing that my body and my soul can relate to, which is the outdoors. 9-10 years old, sitting in a dove field with your uncle and a single break shotgun, learning, a little bit about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can relate to that. Even when your brain is just twisted and your body just doesn't want to do what you want it to do, like you can always go to that one spot that made you happy and that you enjoy doing. And
Yep.
that's what I was doing. Everything came together and it kind of just, lit a spark, and that light bulb, came on and all those things. So I always encourage, and I've always tried to help and network. And, there's communities here that are full of veterans that ask me to help push people, and people are like, we want you to come out with us. And, I'm always looking for the next, fishing trip or excursion or hunting trip or excursion, or the new or exciting, or, part of my bucket list, or, again, the fact that it's something that I can relate to even as a small child all the way till now, like that carries me through.
That's awesome.
So
Well, you're living, brother. I mean, based on what I see you got going on social media, you're definitely living it. And I just think it's awesome. Are there some organizations or any that, kind of helped you out that we could give a shout out to? If you're a veteran and you're listening to this and you kind of like, hey man, how do I find my access point? Are there any out there that we could recommend?
So the first one that's near and dear to me currently is the Fallen Outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
I have a buddy here in Clarksville, Tennessee, hashtag Fort Campbell area.
Uh-huh.
You can reach out to the Fallen Outdoors. Different regions carry different names. So you got the Fallen Outdoors, like Southern region, and then whatever, Middle Eastern region, whatever you want to Google it, look it up. Facebook, I believe. Facebook is the biggest platform that they share right now.
Okay.
But I do know that I've got folks out in Washington that I know that are part of the TFO with the Fallen Outdoors. I've got people here in Tennessee that are Fallen Outdoors, and I've got people in Georgia that are with the Fallen Outdoors. So if you're in those regions, just, reach out to the Fallen Outdoors in general, and I would highly suggest, speaking to someone there. And there's tons, there's so many other ones out there. But those are the ones right now that are so close to me.
Gotcha. I know. I think one of my buddies is part of Operation Outdoor Freedom. I think is another one. And I know, like Wounded Warriors got some things that they do as well and stuff. And I'm sitting here. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Also, if you're part of the SF community, Spec Ops Excursions is home based here in Tennessee, and those guys, they absolutely go above and beyond for the soft guys. The SF community is a small group, but they make themselves.
As waterfowlers, we experience all kinds of extreme weather conditions. Stay bone dry and warm with Frog Togs hunting gear. You can check them out at frogtogs.com or at Frog Togs Hunt on Instagram.
Any SF guys listening?
Heck yeah, that's good stuff. And I'm sitting here listening to it, and as we're talking, something that comes to my mind really is, it's really, if you're probably listening to this podcast because you're already a hunter, and so maybe how I should shift this is our mentality of, if you're listening to this and you're a veteran, you can go out and contact these organizations, see how you can volunteer, see how you can help. And if anything else, just network among friends, and just try to find them. I was fortunate enough this weekend. I got to go out, they had in Arkansas on Saturday, they had a veteran and active duty day and youth also. And then Sunday was just snow goose season. So I got to go out with a good friend of mine, Mario. He's a Marine veteran. He had two friends of his that he served with that had never been duck hunting or waterfowl hunting before. And so we got those guys to come out and to see, as you were talking about earlier, Smitty, about what that's done for you as a channel, these guys, we just got really, if you've been duck hunting, you're going to have a lot of days where you sit there twiddling your thumbs. Let's be frank,
have something to do.
Right? But there's some days when some magical things happen, and those guys get to be a part of that. We did a 4-man limit. They shot pintails, they shot some snow geese, they shot some specks, and they both had already texted me and just said, bro, we are in for life.
There you go. It is addicting. It is really addicting.
It is. And it's not just only waterfowl too, it could be deer hunting, fishing. It could be just an outdoor activity. Any of those things where, you find your peace and, you find your, so to speak, people sometimes say, I find my church,
There you go. There you go.
And so that's awesome, man. And I wasn't even expecting to dive into this part with the podcast. And I'm so happy that you talked about this because we got to do more to help fellow veterans out there, and even if you're not a veteran, if you know a veteran, ask them if they've ever been hunting before.
Or volunteer to help.
Yeah, just volunteer to help. That's the best way you can give back, no doubt about it. So anyway, thanks for bringing that up, and thanks for letting us be a part of that in your journey.
Yeah, 100%. It's like I said, it keeps me going. So I do enjoy it. And, if someone feels like they're taking from someone else, no, the opportunities are always there. They're just not there at that moment for that right person. So it's just like, just reach out, because you never know, that one hunt can change someone's life or yours, for good. Everybody's going to have bad days. Everybody's going to have bad days. And you know what? Those connections that you make during those hunts, those are what's going to help you on your bad days, because you can reach out to those guys.
Yeah.
And so now you have a support system. So yeah, too easy, brother.
Yeah. And you know what? And I'll be bold as saying it could save somebody's life.
Yes.
And whether it's like true physically or just mentally, being able to, like you said, that camaraderie factor is a big deal, and getting to be part of something is a big deal. So cool stuff, man. Thank you so much for talking about that.
Of course.
So I want to know a little bit more. Obviously, to me, it looks like you're doing pretty darn good with this Smitty's beard sauce, barbecue sauce, and where did you come up with these flavors? Was you just sitting around, just throwing a bunch of stuff in a bowl, mixing stuff together, or do you have like some family that hey, what do you think about this? You kind of give me some background of that stuff.
So growing up in Southeast Missouri, from a broken home, as a lot of people can relate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Father left the household when I was super young. We didn't have much growing up, and so I did what I call taking something from nothing, right? So whatever's in your cabinet currently, and you have to use that to survive or live off of, and that's all you got. You know exactly what those things taste like when you put them together.
Bro, bologna sandwich.
There you go. And if that weird looking sauce in the cabinet goes well with this other weird looking sauce, and it creates this awesome sauce, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So basically what I did was I took, in my mind, I dissected a lot of things. I wanted to create something from simple ingredients. You can read them. They're not heavy in sugars. And I wanted something unique that was my own, that just says, wow, like
Mm-hmm.
anytime somebody tastes it or they see it, there's something on there that they either can relate to, connect to, or they just love the overall product. And so what I did was I looked at everything I had in my cabinet and I said, what would be the wow factor? So, I took people's ideas of the big, thick, heavy sugars that caramelize and create that, delicious, sticky rib or, barbecue or whatever. And then I took the tanginess from, the St. Louis style, or, I kind of took, maybe it's Carolina style. Sorry, as you were. So I kind of took all that stuff in my cabinet and I laid it all out, and I shit you not, I had to write down, this is how bad I am. I had to write down every time I added a tablespoon to something. I'm talking awesome. Paper after paper after paper. So it just, in my mind, I had these great ideas, but I couldn't get it out on paper. So it just took me time and time again. And then people are like, do you have anything hotter? Do you have anything hotter? Or, what about like mangoes with this or this with that? And so I just kind of took the next step and I went just a little bit hotter.
Yep.
But kept the flavor. Again, something different, kind of out there, but people are highly intrigued, so they want to try it.
Sure.
So that was the ghost pepper. And then so I'm like, okay, there's this Scotch bonnet. I'm kind of Scottish Irish. I'm more Irish than Scottish. And so I'm like, I will try this pepper. And holy crap, that's a hot pepper. That is a really hot pepper. Okay. Well, what I did was I took the Scovilles, is the relatable heat index that they judge these peppers off of. Took the Scovilles, dumbed them way down, and the flavor that comes off that pepper is mind blowing. So I kind of blended some other spices. I blended, some honey or molasses or brown sugar. And I created this aroma with this flavor that just knocks your socks off. And so I just kept trying to up my game, but also stick to the simple. The whole KISS method in the military is keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And it just carried on through the 4 flavors I currently have.
Wow, man. So, I mean, you truly created the stuff from scratch yourself.
I did. I sure did. There's no granny's recipe. There's no, grabbing a bottle of name brand off the shelf. This is strictly me trying everything together, scratch, trying everything together plus scratch, applying everything together plus something else. Like, it just kept on and on and on. So it's kind of, it's where, yeah.
Wow. So here's the other thing that intrigues me. And it is, all right. So now you got this sauce, these different sauces or whatever. You started with the Smitty's original.
Yes.
What did it take for you to go to market? I mean, were you boots on the ground? I know you said you networked with a lot of people and stuff like that, but can you kind of tell our listeners a little bit, what it takes to lift a business off the ground?
Holy cow. So a lot of people, they tell you start with a business plan. You got to do the homework. You have to do some homework. In order to go fully retail, you have to have, some money to start out with. You got to have some capital. You've got to have the barcodes. You've got to have insurance. You've got to have the network. You got to have the exposure. So
prototype packaging.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You got to have, the eye-catching label with all the government. You got to have all these government restrictions. Everything's got to be dress right dress. So, after you get all your ducks in a row, then you've got to put more money into it. And what I mean by that is now you've got to pay for promoting. Now you've got to pay for, an online store. You've got to pay for packaging. You've got to pay, you know what I mean? So it's just a vicious cycle of spending money to put right back into the business. But when I was getting started, I started by doing what I thought made sense.
Sure.
I started sending out 100 to 250 emails a day.
Wow.
Yeah. And I might have got 10 replies saying, you know what, hit us back next year. We've already spent our, a budget for X, Y, and Z. Or somebody said, well, we only go through a third party program that you've actually got to pay for to get that exposure over here. Yeah, exactly. It's a lot more complicated than most people think. It's not just, hey, try this sauce and put it in your store. It doesn't work that way.
There's a lot there's a lot. It sounds like there's a lot of different games you have to play.
There is. It's getting more complicated due to the fact of the government putting their hands in everybody's pocket.
Sure.
So the restrictions, the timelines, the ingredients, you've got to have even the acidic value of the barbecue sauce depicts how long the shelf life is. And by government restrictions, if you're not 18 months or longer, then it kind of throws you down to a 20% market.
Wow.
Which means only 20% of the major or retailers will look at you. So there's so many things to look at. They always approach me and they're like, hey, do you have any sample bottles, like the small bottles? And, you got freight, cargo, all these costs determine a finished product.
Mm-hmm.
And it costs just as much to send a box of tiny little bottles than it does to send a box of a pound and a half of glass bottles.
And so
all these things that
you got to think about. I mean, you got to think about all these things. So how long did you spend doing all this research? I mean, did you do this research and write out a business plan and say, yeah, the potential and the numbers are there based on these metrics? Or did somebody help you with that? Or how did you get into that, that business side determination?
Well, when I started, it was simply based off of research I found online.
Gotcha.
it was startup costs, and then it was, cost associated with running an online store. And so all these things got me thinking, like, do I write a business plan, or do I go right into trying to get a loan? Because you have to have a business plan to get a loan most of the time.
Sure.
But at the time, I learned at an early age growing up, my grandma taught me this: save your money. So at the time I had some capital.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't actually feel like I needed a business plan. So I dove right into putting it in a bottle. And then
that sounds like an
else,
Army guy.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Put your eggs in a basket and then, carry on. Like, that's kind of what I did. So,
wow. You're that bold. Just went for it. Well, and I guess a part of that comes in having the support and belief in your product. Obviously at that point, it wasn't just you saying this stuff tastes good. You know what I mean?
100%.
You'd had people taste it, and already created, I'm sure, like some local love for the sauces that you have.
Yep, exactly. And that was just it. That's what kept it going, because the more people it got exposed to, the more, now I'm on the hook. Now people are, they want gallons at this time, and then people are wanting cases at this time, and then, and then people want hotter. And so it kind of just, it forced me into it at that time.
Interesting.
But yeah.
Very interesting. So, one of the things I told you I wanted to dig into was, I think us as hunters, no matter what you hunt, whether it be deer, waterfowl, elk, you name it, we all take those animals and want to harvest them. And if you're doing the right thing, you're either donating that or you're eating the fruits of your labor. And I think so many times, we have people that say, oh, you can't cook a coot and make it taste good. You can't cook a snow goose and make it taste good. And I've learned over the years that it's been so much in the preparation of your wild game. But what I wanted to talk to you about tonight is a little bit more of, how can we take some Smitty's beard sauce and make some ducks taste good, or whatever? What are some of the things? I know you got recipes on your website. You can go on there and look up different recipes, but like specifically in the wild game arena, what has been your experience with that? Because I know you've harvested a lot of different wild game, and have you applied your different sauces to those?
Well, I'll start out by saying, like, the sauce itself has so many practical applications. So you're not just limited to, one style of cooking, so you can baste, glaze, inject, marinate, you can dip, you name it, you can do it with this sauce.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I've marinated goose for many, many years in one of the sauces. I can finish that by broiling, or, just a glaze on the grill, in the oven. You can do an overnight pot roast. You take the neck of a deer and boil it down, overnight in a crock pot, and then finish it off with Smitty's. I've got guys in the duck blinds that eat the sauce with pancakes. I mean,
no kidding.
Oh yeah, it gets crazy. It gets crazy. So I've got people in British Columbia that use it on, fresh elk. And what they do is they take it's a reduction. So all of those oils and those seasonings that wind up in the pan, they will finish it off with some wine. They will add Smitty's to that, and they will drizzle that over as their finished product. You name it, brother.
What's your favorite?
Pronghorn. Oh, gee. Let's see. I would say pan-seared ducks finished in the ghost pepper.
Really? Pan-seared duck. Yeah. And leave the skin on the breast, right?
No, I do not.
Oh, really? Okay.
I do not. I haven't even tried that. I've never tried that, because what I do is I take the breasts and I marinate them in the sweet and spicy overnight, and then I'll bring them out into the fridge, on the counter, and I'll leave them out for 2 to 3 hours, and then I'll pan sear them, and then I'll finish them off and glaze them with the ghost pepper. and I'll put those over a bed of rice. I'll throw in maybe some bourbon or maybe a wine, and I'll take that reduction. I'll pour it all in that rice. And brother, I tell you what, I've turned at least 3 people from saying duck are the worst disgusting thing they've ever had to when are you bringing duck home? Yeah.
That is awesome. Because, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're out there talking to the general population of duck hunters, you know, everybody's just got this opinion of, or so many opinions, I should say, of what tastes good and what kind doesn't, and what, you know, what's the best duck you ever ate, and by species and all that stuff. And, you know, I'm going to be a little bold and making a point tonight that kind of correlates with this. And that is, you know, I've been a deer hunter all my life. I've eaten a lot of deer, and we all know some basic facts about meat. And that is, one, they don't go up to a cow and make it suffer before they take that animal. Why? Because the adrenaline shoots through the meat and basically ruins it. So that's why it's very important that they do that swiftly. If you shoot a deer, for example, and you make a bad shot on it, and I will 110% say that every deer that I ate that was a wounded deer that did not die swiftly was not the best deer I ever tasted. Right?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. And I noticed this just throughout time. Well, I got to thinking about duck and waterfowl. And what made me think about this was, went out on a speck hunt, and we got some juvie specks, and I was cleaning them, and I looked at that meat, and I was like, man, dude, that looks like a fawn meat. I mean, it just looks milky a little bit, you know, and just soft, and, you know, and I'm looking at some of these barbellies, they're heavy barbellies that I'm cutting open, and I'm like, dude, that's some dark red hard meat, you know?
Oh yeah.
And so I think a lot of times we miss that point. So when we got those snow geese this weekend. I was like, look, I'm telling you right now that out of that pile of 30 something that we shot, I want those juvies because I'm on to something here. And
smart. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, it always comes down to preparation. You know, I have friends of mine that have brought back some really old school values that hunters have done years and got lost. And that was, you know, waterfowl anatomy is way different than, say, a deer's anatomy. And, you know, and so isn't, like, say, a coyote, you know. You know, if you want a coyote skin, and I know you know this, Smitty, is you better take that skin off immediately, because they decompose faster than just about any animal a coyote does.
That's true.
And now you take waterfowl, and this is what some of my friends have been doing, is hanging them, you know, in a refrigerator for anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks minimum. And these are not gutted, nothing, just hanging there by the head. And I don't know the science behind it. And if you do, I would love for you to comment on this podcast. There's no doubt about it that makes a tremendous difference in the taste of your waterfowl. On the flip side of that, I will say that I have cleaned waterfowl within hours of killing them and eating them. It's been some of the best waterfowl I've had at that point too. But I'll give you a great example. Here's a true life story. We went, a friend of ours shot some buffleheads. Now, if you pick up a bufflehead duck after you shot it, it is one of the most nasty smelling things. There's a reason why people probably think buffleheads with, you know, whatever. So he let these buffleheads hang for 3 weeks, and he's got a game fridge. He let them hang for 3 weeks. We went over there, and his wife, you know, they cooked them to 125, whatever, pan-seared them in a cast iron pan. Yep. And she made these toasted cheese with cantaloupe and bufflehead. And it was one of the best waterfowl anything I've had. And I know if you're listening to this, you're going, what in the hell? And,
Yeah.
but I mean, me and Tristan were sitting there going, are you kidding me? That was bufflehead. I mean,
Right.
So the whole big point I'm making here is the preparation. You know, you got to do your part on the preparation side of it. But
100%.
But to be able to add these different flavors, I think you just got to get a little bit more bold with what you're trying to do and try to enjoy it and be experimental.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, no different
I like
than what you've done. And I'm sure, and we're getting ready to dive into some of this with you, but I'm sure, I mean, I've seen you out there roughing it, man. And I know you got a bottle of that sauce in your pocket. And I know that you're out there, you take some game and you're going to eat it right now type of thing. And what's like the quick and easy recipe out there for some different game that you've done that with?
The only thing that I can honestly say is basically a reduction, because you know most of the wild game is very lean.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing is, you know, you're pan searing that, or you're roasting that over a spit or a stick or anything like that. So you know, if you have, you know, a pot or cast iron or anything like that, add a little bit of water, add some Smitties to that, and you know, you've either got a dipping sauce, two, you can, you know, reglaze or, you know, base that thing. But a dipping is probably the most practical on site in backcountry.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just depends on your setup, your kit. So all of that, but everything tastes different with all different flavors. Like you get a wow out of all flavors, and it just depends on what you have in your kit. Then you can make it your own.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, it didn't happen quick enough in our relationship, but I will tell you this. I am getting some of this stuff, and I'm going to take, and we're going to, you know what, Tristan, when you listen to this, we're going to take some of this sauce and we're going to throw out some recipes or something, because I'm excited about, you've already got me excited about trying some of this stuff. I mean, if you just got done with hunting season, you have this meat, man, let's all get creative with it a little bit and get some Smitty's beard sauce and that stuff and check out some of these recipes.
Yeah. If you send them to me, send me the recipes, and I'll blast them on the site. A lot of times I'll recreate cards, and I'll put those in everybody's orders, or I'll hand them out. We're going to be at the NWTF next week,
Awesome.
And you'll have recipe cards there. So those recipes get shared. So, you know, and your name gets put on there. So I don't take anything. I may take it and use it. And
right. Sure.
But everybody sees your name and what you've created. So
very cool stuff, man. Well, thanks for sharing all that about your business, because that is some incredible stuff. Now, what I want to dive into is you as a hunter and an outdoorsman and fisherman. I'll tell you, I think, you know, we kind of just met through social media through fellow friends, you know,
yes.
is the way I remember it. And I've been kind of following you now for at least a year or so, or around that. And man, you have been part of some really special, I'm going to talk about hunting first, some really special hunting trips. And you're in Alaska. I saw you in Ireland. I mean, bro, let's break all this stuff down. So let's take it one step at a time. I want to hear first about this Ireland stuff. I want to hear about it, because I am know nothing about hunting Ireland. And it just looks so cool. And you went out there, and tell a story about that, please.
So basically, I'll do a plug here for Irish Safaris.
Right.
They reached out to me on social media, and for about 2.5 to 3 years, they've been trying to get me over there. And this is a lifelong dream of mine. Ever since I can remember, all these beautiful animals in these countrysides of this beautiful place. Like who doesn't want to go there? I haven't met anyone that's like, no, it's a thing. And you know, the people are just as friendly and cool as the animals are. And so he reached out, and I told him at the time I had all this schedule and all these things and more hunting and more fishing. I just couldn't do it. the second year rolls around, and I said, maybe, where are we at? And he said, we got a short window, and still couldn't do it. I was headed to Alaska. So finally, after COVID, he reaches out and he said, I've got a cancellation. It's yours if you want it. And I said, I got a plane ticket. And so I'm finally getting this thing together, making it happen. I don't know how cold it is. I don't know what the weather's like. Never hunted these creatures before. And it's a Sika stag. And it's a beautiful, beautiful animal. You see all these pictures and all this information about them.
Do you want coffee that doesn't suck? Get the Duck. Dirty Duck coffee is made specifically for the waterfowl enthusiast. Enjoy flavors like Morning Wood, Dark Dynasty, Cinnamon Teal Snickerdoodle, and First Flight to unlock the flavor that you'll enjoy in the blind for years to come. Our friends at Dirty Duck Coffee Company are now offering all Zero Duck 30 followers a 15% discount when you use code ZeroDuck15 on your next order. Yeah. And the weird sounds they make.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. You wouldn't even know what the heck it was if you heard it.
I know it the first time I heard one, man. I was like, man, what in the hell was that?
Yeah. And so, I'm trying to put all my ducks in a row and get all my information and try to stay on top of my game and be ready. And, so Norman is his name. He's the owner and the founder of Irish Safaris. He said, you're going to stay with me. You'll be by my side. And, we'll just make it a meet and greet and a buddy hunt. And I'm like, even better.
Sure.
I was like, so now I'm going to learn, I'm going to hunt, I'm going to visit. I'm just going to dive in and be a local, Sure. And so I got there and Norman picked me up and he was gobsmacked at how big and long the beard was at the time. Yeah.
Right.
And I said, is that going to be a problem? He said, oh no, and so he got to talking about these things and some of their habits, and I did not realize how small these deer were. Because we have in Tennessee, I think we have smaller frame deer.
Sure.
Than other states. And so in my mind, I am still white-tailed out, right? I get there, and the first time we see one, he said, what do you think? And I said, is that it?
Right.
And I meant nothing by that. I wasn't taken away from him or Ireland or the deer or anything. And he's like, yeah, that's a stag. That's a stag. And I was like, oh, okay.
Right, because you don't know what you're looking at.
No idea. I see pictures, but
Sure.
Nothing does it justice until you get boots on ground. And in my mind, I am a one tag and done, right?
Yep.
And that's just it. You want to do credit to Ireland and the hunters and the community. And so I'm looking for this giant stag, and I want the non-typical and all the kickers and all this. It doesn't happen. And they're telling me you should have shot that one. And I was like, why? They said, oh, that's a silver. And I'm like, silver? What's a silver? So they've got these ratings, and the gold is the biggest and the best. And so gold is a big body, way out there, tall, wide, frame stag.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, now I'm confused. My mind's going all over. I'm trying to put this system in place and justify shooting a big one,
Right.
And so he tells me the next day, he said, you passed up 3. And I was like, I thought I had 1 tag. And he's, no. You can shoot them all. And I was like, oh.
Oh, game changer.
Yeah. So he said what they do is they donate the meat to villages and charities, and they actually get money for it. And I did not know that. And so he said, oh no, we've got to put you on some more. And so the next morning I went out with his son, and I hear these weird noises, and I'm like, okay, I think I know what that is, but it was a female. It was a female with the weirdest noise I'd ever heard in my life. I did not expect it. And so, I'm excited now. And, so we break off over to one side of the ridge, and we go down into this marshy, rocky, just gnarly terrain, something off The Hobbit or something.
Wow.
And this thing just bellows out. 3 huge, just deep, and you just feel it in your chest. I'm like, that is a snotty, gnarly stag, you know.
Tristan, if you could find us some audio to throw in right now at this
There you
point,
go.
this would be really
Cue
cool. Yeah.
Cue it up. So I get eyes on him, and I'm like, oh, now I'm nervous because this thing is bigger than anything I'd seen. And his son, Oshin is his name.
Mm-hmm.
He is the most excited he's ever been, I think, in his life. And so he got me pumped up, you know?
Sure.
And so I took a shot at this thing and totally missed it. Again, short-statured, smaller animal. I'm aiming at a whitetail, height-wise, width-wise, you know, all these things. And I'm like, crap. This joker just stands there, looks up, scratches his back with his antlers, and just like kind of meanders off. So I readjust fire, and just out of the brush, I see his ear, his neck, and his chest, and that's all I got. And he took one more step, and right there where his mane meets his shoulder, I had just a little bit of white off the brisket, and I pulled the trigger and dropped him right there.
Wow.
And brother, I tell you what, yeah, that was a moment. Now, the other part of that is I had to get to him, 1. 2, I had to get him out of there. And we were 300-400 yards from the nearest road at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And that road was another 4 miles to the main road.
Wow.
Yeah. So
we're
trying to get this. Oh, and the thing is, he called it a gold medal winner.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So now I know I've got this stag. I've got to get out of here. And I'm American, and I'm ex-military. So now, now he expects me just to toss this thing over my shoulder and hike out of here, right? I took 2 steps of that thing on my back after we had backpacked it up. And, you know, we've got lights and orange, and we're trying to get out of this marsh and this rocky. It's unreal. Like, I've been to Alaska, I've been to Wyoming, I've been to Florida, I've been to Georgia, I've been to like all these places. Does not prepare you for the country that Ireland and its terrain throws at you. Like, it's unreal. Finally, we call in reinforcements, and we drag that joker out of there 2 hours later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm just sitting here while we're talking, and I'm sitting here looking at this thing. And I mean, what a cool looking animal.
Yeah, it really is.
And did I hear you say, do they have blue tongues?
Yes.
See, that even makes it more crazy. You mounted this sucker, right?
Oh yeah. It's, I think he's a blue ribbon taxidermist in Ireland. And I took it to him the same day, and it's being done there now.
Man, if you guys got to go check out his Facebook page and check this out. This is he posted in October 12th, 2022. This thing is like black and dark brown, like a silverback gorilla or a big mature pig type of. And then it goes into its head, and it's got these smaller looking elk antlers and stuff. It's just man, what a wild looking beast.
I tell you what, if you take an elk and you just resize it about 3 times smaller, that's what it reminded me of when it was scratching its back, its mane, the hair on its neck and its chest. That it just reminds me of an elk. Wow. But then it's got these faded spots. It's got, its feet are smaller. Like it's a beautiful creature too.
They look like a little badass is what they look like, dude.
They really are. They can tear some stuff up.
That is so cool, man. So, all right. So following the journey here. So you go do this and you went out there fishing. What kind of, is it a different kind of fish out there that you go after in Ireland or?
So I'd always wanted to fish for pike. Mm-hmm. I've never had a chance. I fished walleye in Michigan. I fished, walleye and sauger in East Tennessee. I've, all the American fish you could think of, I guess, if you will. They even snagged a sturgeon once. I go over there and Norman said, "Hey, we got a whole day to ourselves. And why don't we do what I enjoy doing? And it's pike fishing.
Mm.
And I've never seen a pike up close, so I have no idea. I've seen pictures of people holding them, and the whole hold it closer to the camera type of thing. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. But the kicker was, I'm in Ireland,
Right.
and I'm getting ready to go do touristy stuff, right? And I'm thinking to myself, no tourist gets to do this.
Sure.
We're getting,
Right.
and this Irishman is telling me all about this loch, which is a lake, this loch and its history and, the fish that are in it and the stories that people tell. And I'm like, man, this is surreal. This is like, I could write a book or maybe even make a movie about this. But we get out there and it's super windy, super choppy, but this guy's dedicated. And I see the tackle that it takes to reel these suckers in. And I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Just absolutely crazy.
You're like, what's going to happen?
Tony, take from your wrist to your elbow, and that's the size of some of the tackle we used.
Golly, wow.
Yeah. 3-4 treble hooks, the thing's weighing three pounds at best, and we're hauling that thing and just chunking it out into this choppy loch,
Wow.
And I land my first one, and they're so delicate, but they're also kind of fierce,
Mm-hmm.
that I gave him just a little bit of slack and I lost it.
Mm.
And he said that the way the pole acted and the tackle acted, that was probably a 30 to 40 pound pike.
Golly. Are you
And I'm like, I don't even know what that looks like.
It's a dinosaur.
Yeah, 30-pound fish. Are you kidding me? Like,
I love it. That is so cool.
I finally hooked one, and I could not stop smiling. And I was so awestruck that I almost stuck my hand in its mouth.
That would have been bad.
Oh wow! And the thing is, he's telling me all the SOP. He's telling me how to handle it. He's telling me what we do. After X, Y, and Z. My brain shut off after it was in the boat.
Yeah.
And I'm wanting to grab it by its lip. I'm wanting to hold it a certain leg. So I'm holding this thing, and my face hurts. I'm just grinning so much, so long. It was unreal.
Dude, that is so
Unreal.
cool. So cool and awesome. So, all right. So here you are in Ireland, and now you leave, and a month later you're in Alaska?
Yeah,
Is that right?
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, Alaska.
You
always,
freaking
always.
wild man. So, all right, since this is a duck podcast,
Yeah.
you guys, have you ever seen what a harlequin duck looks like? What a cool looking animal. So
Beautiful.
tell us about, from the time you got up that morning and went out to hunt those, the environment, what's it like? What was that like?
So if you've ever duck hunted, the crappier the weather, the more and better the ducks will cooperate.
Right.
So it's blowing, and the waves are kind of cooperating. So we kind of keep to the banks.
Are you
a
like
little
out in
bit.
the ocean or something?
This is the ocean. So it's actually located, the lodge that I go to is a retired Coast Guard friend of mine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so he'll drop me off every once in a while on an island. I'll stay 1 or 2 days by myself, or I'll take someone and we'll, stay out a whole day and, may or may not camp, may or not build fires. It may just be a lodge and go. You never know. But this day I'm at the lodge, and this is called Cranberry Creek Lodge, which is on Cranberry. Yeah. It's Raspberry Island.
Okay.
And, Bill tells me, he's like, what do you want to do? I said, I want to kill some ducks. And he said, good thing you said that, because just outside, so you don't actually go into the open ocean. We're in between locked islands, and, the wind gets super bad in between, the throats.
It's like in a bay, so to speak. Like if you were an American hunter going after, say, a redhead or something.
There you go.
But a little bit more disturbance in the winter weather, I'm sure.
And the winds can shift, and your waves will, spike, and then
you got tides and all that stuff.
All of it. You got to take everything into effect, and in consideration that you don't know in the next 20 minutes if you're not familiar with the area, what's going to happen? So you got to be prepared. One.
So it is a risky hunt, as I've heard. When you're going up there and hunting these ducks, whether it's them or king eiders or whatever you're going after up in Alaska, it's a little risque.
Time and location, definitely, but then preparation for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so please continue.
Yeah. So we get out and we cut this one corner, and just inside of this hard left, you've got this little bowl, and we see these birds flush out of there, and sure enough, harlequins, golden eyes, there's some old squaws, and I'm just like in awe because one, the birds are just beautiful, but two, I've never shot an old squaw, and
I don't even know what an old squaw is. What is an old squaw? I've never. I mean, I've heard the term squaw, but I don't know if that comes from Native American things I've researched over the years. But what is that?
So an old squaw to me looks like a grayer version of a pintail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And that's kind of the only way I can describe it. One, I haven't never put my hands on it in person. I've just seen them flying in the wild, and that's kind of how I see them.
I got you.
Yeah. But so we've even got the eiders out there, and those are beautiful. And so he told me, he said we're gonna circle back, and we're gonna.
An old squaw is the same. It's a long-tailed duck.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Now I just had to look it up while you were saying that. What a wild looking. Yeah, those things are cool. All right, so keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we circle back and we park the dinghy, and we come up over this ridge, and there's probably 40 birds that are rafted up, and I'm trying to make heads or tails, and I'm after one bird now, and it's like my brain shuts off again, and so. We're sitting there, we creep up, and we find this one pine tree. And little did we know, these other birds were sitting off the point just watching. And about the time we got to where we were propped up, sat up, ready, comfortable, those birds just took off, and they all just at the same time took out.
Oh.
Yeah. But the wind was perfect. It was kind of spitting, it was snowing. And then the wind had picked up after that. So we called it for that day. And so then fast forward to later in that day, we took and we went past that cove into this channel. Because we'd always seen the birds land or fly away, and we never did follow up.
Mm-hmm.
We took this channel, and the water's so clear. It's something out of a storybook.
Wow.
So clear. The trees are so green. Just everything is just beautiful. It doesn't matter where you turn or look. It's a picture. We go down this channel. I think there's a video or something on my Instagram of the water. But we get back here past this channel, and we realize exactly where all 10 million ducks and geese sit. Yeah.
Found them other way.
Yeah, we found it. We found exactly where they go in the PM. But again, we had to look at the time, we had to look at the tide, and we had to look at our resources for preparation. We were out of time. The tide, was not cooperating, and it was dinner time for us anyway. But shooting light was already past, but it was still daylight. So we had to circle back.
Wow.
And every day is something new. Like, cause we'll be on our way out there, and we'll just leave, 200-300 yards, and they'll just buzz us. They're just constantly buzzing us. They'll land, 70 yards out and just poke at us. They're just laughing.
Sounds like buffleheads.
Exactly, buffleheads. But if you get a chance to go out there and you get to see duck hunt, you will see the most beautiful, epic things your mind can fathom. You've got whales, you've got otters, you've got sea lions, the mountains, the sunsets, the sunrise, you've got ducks, you've got elk, you've got fox, and all these
brown bears.
Brown bears for sure. There's just a plethora of things, and again, the ducks, it's just, I don't know, something about it. It's awesome.
So let's dive into more of what this experience turned out for you there. I mean, so this is up in around Kodiak, Alaska. Is that right?
It is off the mainland of Kodiak, about 45 minutes due northeast.
Okay.
And Raspberry Island. And of course, there's so many Kodiak islands, that dot and litter that make up the Kodiak Island.
Gotcha.
But it is off the mainland. Yep.
Gotcha. All right. So one of the things that it blew my mind this year that you took out there is talk about this fox that you got, dude. That thing, and you saw my comment. I was like, "That's a gem, bro." I mean, I've watched enough about these. Just talk about. I'll let you tell the story. Talk about this.
So this is a cross fox, and it's a cross between a red and a gray. And I've never seen the grays up there, and I've never seen a red up there. But there's also the tundra fox that I've never seen. But I have seen these cross, and I told myself, if I get within reach, I'm taking one of those. And I tell you what, that's probably the most beautiful fur that I own, one, but two, the feeling you get, from one, testing yourself or being in the environment, and the respect you have for all these animals. It all come together, and it's beauty that it is so worth it. And that when they look at you, and their eyes or their tail or just the way that they're sitting on the ground, I don't know. That's just, I don't know, something about that, just being up there.
Magical about it.
Oh, it is. It is super, super cool.
Goodness gracious, dude. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, well, and I was just following you and I saw, oh, he's up in Kodiak, Alaska. I'm going to stay tuned and see what's going on with this guy. And
there you go.
And then all of a sudden you post this fox and I'm like, bro, that is like a true a trophy. And to be in that kind of environment, a few minutes ago you were talking about, not to jump back, but you were talking about the environment, when you're out there hunting those ducks, whether it's seeing whales or mountains or glaciers or, all these different mind-blowing geographical things, not counting the wildlife, that you see. Our partners at Huntwise are offering an exclusive discount for Zero Duck 30 followers. As an elite member, some of the features you'll immediately gain access to are Huntcast, Windcast, peak kill times, property lines, owner information and phone lookup, 250 map layers, unlimited offline maps, 3D maps, social media, and on top of it all, save up to 50% off some of the top hunting brands in the industry. Download and explore the #1 hunting tool set today and save 20% by using code DUCK30. I can so relate to that from cutting my teeth and duck hunting down in Florida.
Okay.
And just the way that, we might be out there hunting ducks and here comes a group of dolphins in on a low tide.
Wow.
And they come in and you're watching them do their thing. It looks like something off of like a old Jacques Cousteau film or something. I mean, it's so cool. And you're watching this and you're going, dude, I get to duck hunt in this environment. You got a manatee that swims by you, an alligator. I haven't seen a python yet. But if I do, if I already said it on another podcast, if we run into any pythons out in the Florida marsh, duck hunting is over because I am tackling that sucker, dude. I'm going to get it and I am coming out. And the main reason is that however much money I spent that weekend to go duck hunting, I can make some of that back with a nice sized python, I mean, those things,
there you go.
Some guys get $250 in those things. So,
oh yeah.
Anyway, but man, what a cool journey, for you as a veteran, as a man, as a hunter, as an entrepreneur. And thank you so much for sharing so much of your story with us tonight. Before we get off here tonight, can you kind of just let's circle back again one more time about veterans and helping veterans and getting connected, because as I've been following you, Smitty, and as I sit here and just dive into this more with you and hear your story, I can't help but not want other people to experience that, and especially veterans, being that I'm a little bit sighted, in that regard, man. I just, what can we do more? I mean, is there anything more we can do outside of just reaching out to people and reaching out to these organizations? I think us as just hunters, if we're not veterans, we can reach out and do things as well. Anything else out there on the table that you would suggest?
My biggest thing is, and it's a personal thing too, is, put your money aside, put the difference aside, put the fame aside, because at the end of the day, when you're sitting there all alone in your house, what's going to bring you more joy? The fact that you now have 3 new friends that just may be veterans now, and that you've changed their life. You don't know at the end of the day the struggles they're going through, or how much of an impact you've made on their life, because a lot of veterans, they're not outspoken. A lot of veterans aren't going to tell you their thoughts, emotions, or feelings, and you may or may not get the big reaction you want. But I tell you personally, from my experience, that I am more grateful to that one time, and I'll remember that. I'll take that to my grave, and I promise you, that made more of an impact than somebody, wanting to, buy me a new boat or put me, on TV or any of that stuff.
Sure.
To, call the organization that's near you, reach out, Uncle Google's your best friend. Or if you know a veteran, help them reach out to those organizations, or maybe even apply for them or call for them. Or if you know the organization yourself, either help that veteran get there or help that veteran during the process, donate, there's so many different things.
It's so easy to make a connection, especially, excuse me, especially if you professionally are in a position to make a difference. Yes. There's some weight with what you carry. Go do it, go do it and just make a connection. And you probably don't have to do much more than that, when it comes to that, but man, thank you so much. I appreciate your time so much tonight. Where can everybody, number one, let's get back to business, make this guy some more money. Where can we get Smitty's beard sauce? How do we go about getting that? Online, in stores, locally, where you're at, or wherever?
Yeah. If you want it in your local your local store, you can go to your manager and, have them look up smittysbeardsauce.com, and you can order, you can share, you can like, post, comment, tell me you hate it, you love it doesn't matter. But, that manager now knows about Smitty's. You can now order your Smitty's online, smittysbeardsauce.com. We're on all social platforms.
And now, are you and I'm sorry to interrupt because this is important. Yep. Are you a veteran-owned company? Because I am. Okay, because number one, I'm going to say wow to that, because bro, that's an endeavor in itself. Just getting that accomplished. So, folks, you're helping out a veteran-owned company, and I know this much. Look at it, sometimes they can provide some great tax breaks for your business by working with a veteran organization. Is that not right?
There you go. That's correct.
All right, and continue on. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. So all social media platforms. That's even LinkedIn. LinkedIn there's a business platform. You got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Smitty'sBeardSauce.com. There are small veteran-owned businesses that actually carry the sauce as well. There's one I can think of right now out in Utah. It's called the Drunken Butcher. He makes his own spices. He is he's a veteran Marine, and he carries the sauces, and I help plug him, promote him. He helps yada yada. But with all that being said, Smitty'sBeardSauce.com is the place to be and go and do.
Awesome. And where can we follow your journey? Where can we follow Smitty in your journey?
So I am known as either Kevin Smitty Smith on Facebook,
Okay.
as the owner of Smitty's Beard Sauce, or I am Outdoor American and Smitty's Beard Sauce on Instagram.
Awesome, man. Awesome, man. Well, you have yourself a great rest of your evening, and I can't wait to get you back on the podcast sometimes.
Well, you know what? What we need to do is actually hunt.
Yeah, bro. We got it. We got to. We're gonna talk for a minute off air here in a second because I'm awe-inspired by your journey and what you've done, and I know that if we haven't talked about it enough tonight, I know that since you've been such a benefactor and seeing this come to fruition for yourself, that you've most definitely helped out a ton of other veterans in your journey. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have a lot of respect for the listeners and yourself, and I can't thank you enough for having me, Tony.
Yes, sir.
I've been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I ought to slow down, standing in the pouring rain.